Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV this beautiful Monday evening. It's time for round 6 of the Oceanic Stock Car Association Championship Series for 2026. This brand new championship in the AusNZ sim racing community has been going off for the last month and a bit. In addition to the qualifying series, we've had plenty of drama, plenty of cautions. We'll see if that changes here at Iowa Speedway for the 6th round of the season. We are in corn country, and it's a pleasure for us to bring it to you live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me in the commentary box here, Reese Gardner. Alongside me, a man who Scott Rankin describes as the man who can only hit all the pins on the second ball. Jake Sperry is with me in comms here, with Jay Kennedy standing behind the scenes in production, pressing all the buttons. Tell you what, Jake, first proper short track of the season here at Iowa, and to boot, it's calling itself the fastest short track on the planet. This is going to be a fun night.
It really will here, Reese. Of course, you are the sage that sits at the base of Trois-Rivières in Canada. But for Iowa Speedway, this is going to be second tied in terms of the regular season for longest laps, with Richmond, which will come up in 2 weeks' time. Of course, Bristol will be the big one for 250 laps to go and battle with. But this marks the halfway of the regular season here on Rusty Wallace Drive. This is going to be all about setting yourself up and saying, okay, well, if New Hampshire was a caution fest and close quarters, this is going to be just as tough today, Reese, because this is one of the few tracks in the world where you can legitimately get a caution thrown at any point in the track, at anywhere in the track. And there's your rundown of the playoffs here with Indianapolis, Las Vegas, all the way down. What a run in Talladega, Martinsville, Homestead.
Yeah, brilliant stuff indeed. Martinsville being one more short track to round off the total season here. Well, Iowa Speedway, plenty of banking at this circuit. It's, as I said, located in solidly the Midwest of the United States. It's one of the newer venues on the schedule as well. It's only been around since, I think, the late 90s, early 2000s. And the banking through these corners, as I said, is quite substantial compared to most other tracks that would be considered short tracks. A very rudimentary road course as part of this facility as well. The turns, variable banking from 12 to 14 degrees. The front straight has 10 degrees of banking, and it's not really a straight. This is a D-shaped oval with the back straight, actually a straight, still with a bit of banking to it at 4 degrees. There are no truly flat parts of this racetrack other than the pit lane.
And that's going to mean that drivers cannot switch off around here. It is a very important circuit to go and get correct, and one where if you do have yourself the instant and the race is run for you, Reese, you can actually get a quick exit out of this place, because this circuit is built directly next to Newton Municipal Airport, which is known as Earl Johnson Field.
Yes, very good air access to Iowa Speedway, and in the sim, You see that there's plenty of surface changes to contend with as well. Plenty of extra tarmac on their way through. We're going to review very quickly the format for today. Stage 1 is going to end at lap 60 with the pit entry closing at lap 58. There will be a caution to end that stage. No caution to end stage 2 though at lap 100. And then stage 3, the longest of them, the final half of the race, taking us to potentially the checkered flag at lap 200. But if we get a caution at the right time, then we will go into overtime. It's also brought a change to the allowable tyre sets for this race. We used to have 5 sets of tyres. Now for this round, we've got 6 tyre sets available. So the set you start on and then 5 additional. So still need to be careful when you change tyres. Make sure that you don't run out of those sets. Qualifying is just about over, and we're about to get into the grid for this one. The championship is certainly going to the way of Ethan Winter. 264 points as it stands over Zach Kerr and Cody Deeth, with Josh Horton in 4th, 182 points to his name. Josh Perwin in 5th with 165. Only 4 points separating Wayne Burke and Scott Rankin for the top 6 in the championship, and Willie McClune and Sam Chapman are equal on 124. Lachlan Frank rounding out your championship top 10 and managing to get himself a very good result last time out at New Hampshire. Here's the grid then. Josh Horton qualifying on pole position, 23.4 seconds, with Zach Kerr only a couple of hundredths behind. Ethan Winter in 3rd with Tyson Broad on row 2 with him. Sam Chapman and Byron Phillips make up the 3rd row. Wayne Burke is going to start in 7th spot alongside Logan Howard, and then we got Lewis Greathead and Tyler Williams rounding out your top 10. Your top 12 is completed by Lachlan Capel and Ashley Dodgson from Orbit Drop Bear.
Over in 13th and 14th, you've got Jake O'Reilly and Scott Rankin. Inside of row 8 is Ryan Barber. On the outside is Clayton Davies, then who is 2/10 off the pace. Blaine Densley then has Ethan Cale on row number 9 to contend with as your top 20, rounded out by Ben Faulkner and Matt Bailey. Lachlan Mead and Justin Clayton make up 21st and 22nd, with Josh Perwin going from 23rd on the grid. And critically, one of your Dash for Cash drivers here is going to be Daniel Boyd. He lines this one up from 24th.
And the final row of the grid to set qualifying times, Fitzroy Beaumont and Eli Donaldson. And then everyone from there on back has no time to their name in qualifying due to penalties and such like. Lachlan Frank, Cody Deeth, Bryce Harding, Dave Douglas rounding out your top 30. Shane Bowen, he's got a drive-through to serve in the early stages of this race, with Marcus Watson also having to serve a drive-through. Seth Brown and Nick Ryan round out your 34 cars on the grid for today. And Seth Brown joining his teammate at Eclipse Sim Sports, Cody Deeth, here. So we'll see how far up the field they can get as the pace car pulls away and we come out for our formation lap. The exit of the pits here at Iowa, there's plenty of room on the apron down low, so there's a lot of room to get the best exit that you can. But once you get out onto that racetrack, you can see just how bumpy this place is and how many lines and cracks have been filled in this virtual asphalt.
Yeah, a lot's had to be done to get this circuit all up to operating window, and with 5 drivers with a drive-through penalty to start, Marcus Watson, Byron Phillips, Josh Perwin, Cody Deeth and Shane Bowen, we're seeing now the adjudication system, the steward system in play. It's making life really, really difficult to keep yourself out of trouble. So if you've got yourself to the end of the line, if you've got yourself the drive-through that you've got to serve at the start of this race, Reese, it's quite simple. Keep yourself out of trouble in these races and do not cause incidents. Otherwise, you're going to get later on down in the season and you're going to find that it's going to be an incredibly tough journey to get up to the top.
Yeah, still technically early stages, even though we're almost at the halfway point of the regular season. There's plenty more rounds to go at plenty of brutal racetracks, including our first and only road course round of the season next week at Portland International Raceway. And, I would presume that there's going to be a bit less potential for cautions there. Most of these drivers are more than well familiar with their road course racing. But a very good point. You need to keep yourself out of trouble, keep yourself out from under the ire of the stewards, and points will come to you. Stay consistent, stay safe, because this is where the money is made. Entering the restart zone for the first time, and Joshua Horton in the number 43 will lead us away. Barney waves the green flag, and already Ethan Winter cutting underneath Josh Horton, almost 3 wide on the way into turn 1. Ethan Winter is not hanging about, trying his best to make that low line work, but the high line on the exit playing up perfectly there as Zach Kerr is trying to work that middle line. Look at the momentum that number 12 is carrying. Meanwhile, the 69 of Ashley Dodson trying to preserve his position in the top 10 here, in the top 12 even, as he's getting harassed in the midfield.
A lap already scored complete, and what a lovely jump it was there from Ethan Winter. He was switched on that start. Drive-throughs already taking their effect then, as Chapman looking to that inside with the Dash for Cash driver there in second place, highlighted in green and yellow at the moment here as the charge continues off of the exit of 4 and back over towards turn 1 again. Chapman looking to get that one nailed down to the bottom of the circuit. His orange cars in 1 and 2 at the moment, and watch out for the way that Josh Horton drives. He's magical when it comes to the fuel save. He's got a wonderful clutching system that allows him to go through. I was talking with Scott Rankin before the race, Reese, and quite simply, Scott's trying to learn a system similar to Josh Horton out there, but the difference that he's got is that instead of the way that Josh manages to put the clutch in, the difference is Scott Rankin, he's having to cadence push the clutch in because he doesn't want to wear out the front right.
Yeah, a lot of strategy to fuel saving here. And of course, these cars still running the old H-pattern gearbox with clutch, so you're able to get that fuel saving done. Oh, look at that on the bottom right there. Marcus Watson trying to serve the drive-through he was owed there with Perwin, Bowen, and Cody Deeth, but ultimately didn't happen. And it looks like Cody Deeth has gone back into pit lane, has not emerged back out yet. I think he might be playing this one. Actually, he got a black flag, so I think he might have either sped on pit road or had an unsafe entry or exit. So things not going well for the number 3 already. Had to serve a drive-through at the start of the race, and now he's having to serve a black flag. Up the front of the field, though, they're continuing their running here, single file for now, with with Ethan Winter trying to make some moves on Joshua Horton, but he's got Horton's teammate Sam Chapman right behind him, as well as Zach Kerr not too far behind either. Tyson Broad qualifying 4th is still holding on to a position in the top 5, and Wayne Burke, always pacey, is starting to catch.
Well, they've settled single. Oi! Go careful there, Cody, on the rejoin. He had to really light them up. He's 3 down. He merges back on, and this could cause the bottleneck that everyone is starting to worry about out there. It was single file all the way back to about Ben Faulkner, Blaine Densley, Ashley Dodson, that group out there. But Cody Deeth right now, he's going to be full of anger, the fact that he's 4 laps down here in this one. He's not going to be getting lucky dogs at the moment if it turns into a caution fest, because Perwy and Bowen and Watson are all 1 lap down with him. So Cody's got a long day at the office here to try and get himself back into play. And so the first thing that he can do, try and work his way up to the front, manually take a lap away to lessen the damage.
Well, Deeth has made a name for himself this season for his aggression and precision in passing, and he's already worked his way past Wayne Burke there, and he's up behind P5 Tyson Broad. Meanwhile, side by side in the midfield here, Ashley Dodson trying to work his way into the top 16. He's got Blaine Densley, Ben Faulkner, and Ryan Barber with him at the moment. And a good exit out of turn 4, not quite enough to make the move into turn 1. You saw he had to open the steering a little bit there, just too acute of an angle on the way into the corner. But the inside line drivers are not having a great time there with the exit. You saw that was Blaine Densley there, I think, that ended up having a big oversteer moment. Now, the likes of Lachlan Mead, Blaine Densley, Fitzroy Beaumont, Clayton Davies all fighting for this one spot out on track. I'll correct myself. It actually looks like it was the 27. Yeah, it was the 27 at Densley that had that big oversteer moment, and now the 19 of Mead up is inside.
Well, the issue you've got is you try to drive it off the exit, and you go from 14 degrees of banking, and you've still got 4, so you're still thinking you could just plant the throttle fully down, but you've got to be a little bit more patient. Densley again chucks it back, then over to that inside as we get very busy here in the pack here right now with the 18, and again, Denzi's going to go off the left-hand side down the road, and so he is just going to drop that one, I think, to the back of the pack out there as far as they go. I think we've seen something as well go wrong for Ethan Cale out there on track too, so it looks like we're going to have a couple of issues here and there to go and navigate by. We'll take another look. This is the run coming over towards one, so got smacked up from behind, got loose, and then just got ate a bit of safer barrier on the run into turn one. Never ideal.
Yeah, that was Ethan Cale getting into the barrier there, and yeah, I'm not too sure what's happened to Blaine Densley, but he was slow down there on the apron, and he's fallen back to 28th place right now. Keeping our eyes peeled on the number 51 of Matt Bailey in that Summit Sim Sports car, the pink Supra up the top there, just making the move on Lachlan Mead, and here comes Fitzroy Beaumont to try and put a move on the number 19 as well. About a car width off the bottom seems to be the best line when you're involved in a battle here. And the Vermilion Esports number 16 drawing alongside car 19 now into turn one. Can he put the power down and get the run out onto the back straight? Not quite. It seems like Lachlan Mead is nice and stable on the exit of turn two.
And through all of this, Cody Deeth has passed Josh Horton now, and he is now only 3 laps down, not 4. So that's critical for what he's got to do today in this race, as he has now got the clearance. I want to put my focus here on Tyson Broad for a moment, because this is where it's starting to get a bit busy, because you're looking around. He's got Zach Kerr in his sights. This is for 4th place, straight down the inside then at 3, looking for the run. He's about at the door, but at the door's not going to give you the drive, so Kerr using the higher banking to get himself more rotation through the middle.
Very nicely done from Kerr there, keeping the defense going, and he's still running that sort of middle line on the way into turn one, so working out nicely for that Mustang there. You'll also note, we saw it briefly on live pictures, that Cody Deeth has unlapped himself now from our leaders. At least one. He is now only 3 laps down on everyone. He has a clear air ahead of him, and when the caution, if the caution comes out, he'll be able to get back to the back of the field and try his best to get another lap back from there. Pretty static movements throughout the field for now. For the moment, the biggest gainer in the field is Bryce Harding. The number 79 is up 11 spots as things stand to 18th place. Other big gainers include Seth Brown up 9 spots, Fitzroy Beaumont gaining 6, Ben Faulkner in the number 28 up 5 places. We keep our eyes peeled on our leaders though. The view back from Josh Horton on Ethan Winter. Top speeds of about 230, 240 as Winter's trying around the outside. Move indeed. Can Ethan Winter get this done? Our championship leader coming across the stripe is going to be in the lead of the race, but for how long? What does Horton have to fight back with?
You don't cross the stripe here at Iowa, you cross the cob out there. It's a corn on the cob, and it is going to be a case of mine is the long way from Ethan Winter. Around the outside, got it done. Tyson Broad took one look at that, said, I'll have my own piece of it against Zach Kerr. High side is winning here at the moment. More bank is better.
Certainly is, and looking at the track temperature, it's easy to see why. It's up to 47 degrees Celsius. There's going to be so much heat being put through those tyres. The less you turn, the better, and that's the benefit of the Highline. Have a look at how much it's gone up since the start of the race. I mean, it's only been about 10 minutes worth, 12 minutes worth of racing, and it's just gone straight up to 47. That's a bit ridiculous. It seems to have plateaued a little now, but that's worth keeping an eye on for later.
And one of the reasons why you'll get that, Reese, is because there is actually no cool time with how many cars we've got on track. Because we got 34 on track, basically from first back to about 30th is about half the circuit, so you'll get the other half of the circuit doesn't get as much cool time as you would see at a road circuit. So it is absolutely heating up this circuit right now. Lovely side by side here as Lachlan Mead is going to be on the bottom here of Lachlan Frank. Look at this, a battle of Lockies as they work into 1 and 2, and Lachlan Frank getting a good drive now. He's behind Ethan Cale and Bryce Harding.
He podiumed at New Hampshire, did Lachlan Frank. An excellent drive indeed. Got lucky with some of the cautions out there and the incidents happening in front of him, but he is just displaying some full-on driving ability right now as he's up 5 places to 22nd right now. In fact, Lachlan Frank, I'll correct myself, actually won the race at New Hampshire, the newest of our race winners in the OSCA Championship Series. So it's worth pointing out and worth keeping an eye on to see how he works his way up through the field. Tyson Broad on the attack again, this time on Sam Chapman. He's going to get into third with a brilliant run round the outside onto the back stretch. His next target is Joshua Horton. It looks like the Vermilion cars have started to drop off as Ethan Winter is building a gap for the lead.
This might be set up base out there for Vermilion, that they've not got a car that's playing long run very well. You could get the understanding of this could turn into a caution fest, and you've got to be good on short run pace, but Tyson Broad is absolutely motoring, gets himself to the outside through 2, now on to 3. It's a good lunge back in from the 43, but the drive's going to come back from Tyson Broad here off the exit, and he'll get the clearance as he runs up the circuit to say he's now second and also making moves now. Here comes Wayne Burke on the charge, and he was desperately unlucky at New Hampshire, was Wayne, so he is going to be driving knowing that he's got to make up for that lost time. Zach Kerr also having a little bit of a shifty about, thinking, where can I find it?
Yeah, all 4 of those drivers driving for Vermilion Esports under various guises. It just looks to me like Horton and Chapman, they're more comfortable down low, but Berkey now to the low line there as he makes the move on the 43, and we'll see if our pole sitter can hold on to some pace out here, because clearly his tyres having some trouble there. Contact between Kerr and Chapman coming onto the back stretch, and now it's going to be an out-and-out battle between all of these drivers. A little bit earlier throttle application there for Zach Kerr. He will clear Sam Chapman. But now, question becomes, what do these guys do out here on track to try and stem the bleeding somewhat? Tyson Broad is now 0.6 of a second ahead of them. Ethan Winter, another 0.6 ahead of that. So it looks to me like the Vermilion cars are going to have to try something different if they want to keep this pace up.
Well, Zach Kerr is very lucky that he didn't cause the first caution of the race there with Sam Chapman. He could have very easily have turned him across the nose there, sticking it where it didn't belong on the outside of 2. He's got to be careful on the exit. He's got to get alongside more, and lifting out the throttle then goes Josh Horton, and that's going to put him down to 5th, nearly 6th. Lewis Greathead and Lachlan Capel now battling about this one at this moment. Capel then fighting hard on the outside, and low line doesn't work. The track can migrate in terms of its racing line, and I think high is better, especially the longer you go, the more the tyres wear. You need to use more of the banking to keep the rotation and the natural speed up. Going low burns tyre.
Yep, that's the big key point of this race right now, with the temperatures being what they are. Super tight fight here, just outside the top 20 wide as well. This is looking fantastic. That the 27 there of Blaine Densley trying to make a recovery, and he's managed to get himself into this pack, but there's plenty of drivers all vying for this same spot. I lost count of the amount of times I've seen that 19 of Lachlan Mead on the inside of someone. He's managed to keep the defense there of Blaine Densley and Eli Donaldson, and now looking at Seth Brown in the 29 coming into turns 3 and 4 onto the start-finish stretch then for the 32nd time, and up the inside will be the move. But when you're in a pack like this, the nature of the track changes. You know, you need to lift off a little earlier into the corners. You need to be careful of what the drivers in front of you are doing. Don't make contact like that on the way down the back stretch. Apparently, Seth Brown not too keen to let Lachlan Mead have this.
Well, that's all Blaine Densley there. That's the reason why the contacts come through. He was uber aggressive. He was moving about to the top side. 3 wide's never going to be easy, so you're just going to have to work hard with it. And again, they're going to be to 3 as they work through 1 and 2. And now they're going to lean on each other again, Lachlan Mead and Seth Brown, deciding that they want to get a little bit intimate there with each other. They don't want to get too closely involved with how difficult it is to hold your ground. And I would turn around and say, look, Lachlan Mead is the one who ends up on top, but Seth Brown realizing here that This is a hornet's nest of a pack. I don't want to be in this. The tyres are going to have to last, and the fuel can go upwards to 100 laps out there if you're managing it properly. Almost 3 wide once again as Densely once more makes the push. But here's the key. We've got to start thinking about lap 60 here and the first stage points.
Yeah, we're now more than halfway through the first stage. So we'll see what more can be done with regards to moves. Ethan Cale, is going to have to take care of his tyres because he is sliding around there. We heard reports of a big slide off of turn 2 for him, and it looks like through 3 and 4 he's having a bit of trouble keeping the pace up as well. Lachlan Frank in the middle of this fight has just managed to work his way to the front of that pack. Some brilliant driving going on from our most recent race winner here in the Oceanic Stock Car Association, but a little bit of a blink means it might get a little bit complicated for him. This is getting close as well between Tyson Broad and Wayne Burke. It looks like Burke has managed to find some pace now. Look at how high he's running. Tyson Broad still sticking about a car width, maybe 1.5 car widths off the bottom, and Wayne Burke doing the same thing, but having a slightly better time of it right now.
And trying to chase down Ethan Winter. They've not let him completely go. The track completely being run at least 2 seconds. There's at least 1 car going over at this point, and Wayne Burke here is trying to move, and he realizes the line's moving up, so I'll keep going higher and higher and higher until it plays its fact. Zach Kerr was lucky a couple laps ago that he didn't find himself in the outside barriers. He's falling backwards to Sam Chapman, who's starting to move and make it happen, but I am loving what Tyson Broad and Wayne Burke are doing here in this race. They've put together a really nice opening stint here.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. They're matching Ethan Winter's pace at the front as well. On the bottom, we see the live fight across the stripe here. Up the inside then for Lachlan Mead as he's trying to keep Clayton Davies behind him. Eli Donaldson and Bryce Harding right with them as well, as Blaine Densley has worked his way to the front of that pack for 19th spot. And they're all fanning out over the resurfacing patches here at this track, which could offer you slightly more grip if you play your cards right. It's actually quite important where you place the car when you're dealing with a changing surface like that.
It really is, because they paved this over to basically grip it up a little bit more. It creates a different style of racing. The 50 jumping into the wall there slightly is not going to be doing any favours in this group. So this is really turning into a case of, okay, where do you want to be? Clayton Davies starting to go back. Broad now starting to stretch his legs here compared to Wayne Burke. And we're now down here with about 18 when they cross the line before we hit the stage and we get the points all sorted out and tabulated with a caution. So they are now starting to think about here, well, where do I want to be? And, well, why do stage points matter? Because the top 10 are going to be currently eyeing up those points. And that 10th place is Lewis Greathead currently, as we got that side by side. And he's got himself the likes of Tyler Williams and Scott Rankin to deal with, as this is Matt Bailey and Ben Faulkner. Faulkner pushing hard. There's contact there through the middle of 2.
Yeah, it's going to give a nice run to Fitzroy Beaumont up behind. There's a lap car in the midst of all of that. I think it might be Josh Perwin in the 999 who's trying to work his way up from the drive-through penalty he had to serve at the end of lap 1. Up the inside then again for Matt Bailey, but Faulkner has momentum up high, and it'll really pay off for him on the exit here. They're still neck and neck, and the view that Fitzroy Beaumont has of this is magnificent. Just watch how much time he'll make up through these corners. He's got the luxury of choosing pretty much whatever line he wants, but there has to be some compromise up ahead for Ben Faulkner. A big slide off of turn 4. Got to be careful of that. In other news, unfortunately, Lachlan Frank, after putting on some brilliant passes in the early stage of the race, has dropped from the server. Internet issues for the number 48, so we're unlikely to see much more of him here from here on out. And, oh, have a look at that. Josh Perwin getting up the inside of Fitzroy Beaumont, 1 position closer to trying to get a lap back, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it before the stage finishes.
Well, even if he has to wait for the stage to finish right now, he is best lucky dog because he's got the margin on Shane Bowen, and that's the key that he's looking at this moment in time. Give myself the position, don't worry about this first stage, call it a wash, but then you're back in the pack then for the remaining 140 laps of the race remaining. It's going to be fantastic for him to then just start thinking about how he wants to run up the order here and how he wants to go. This has been some lovely clean racing, densely back low here as he works hard with Ryan Barber. Eli Donaldson trying to thread the gap there. Lovely against both Donaldson and Mead there. Ryan Barber's got nothing. Eli Donaldson, lovely stuff there. That's the level of aggression you've got to be. Just pick and choose the moment and don't think too hard about it.
Stomping on the power, door open through the middle, and now he's going to try and move past Densley into turn 1. Teammates at Vermilion, so we'll see what more can be done there. Excellent move from Eli. He's clearly looking after those tyres, and here at the end of the stage, that's where the tyres will come into it. Something has apparently happened to Daniel Boyd.
I just saw it. He had contact coming off of 2, and he had to save a massive fishtail after bouncing off of Bryce Harding. He was left, he was right, he was up into the wall, and he was lucky that didn't come around. A big save from one of our Dash for Cash drivers.
Yeah, he was right in the middle of this pack here. There's the contact, and yeah, very well held indeed from Daniel Boyd, just kissing those safer barriers. Did lose quite a bit of track position, but fortunately the car is still rolling on a track that is really deteriorating in terms of lap time. I've been monitoring the lap times as they've gone on. The drop-off is approaching 1.5 seconds now from the initial laps that we saw in this race. Fastest lap, a 23.78 from Ethan Winter. He's setting 25.3s right now. So that just goes to show how much the track temperature is affecting these drivers.
Well, it's not just the track temperature affecting, it's the fact that the tyres are wearing, and they're wearing quick because they're putting a lot of laps, intense laps, and they're not really getting a chance to save off of it there. Ashley Dodson watching as there was a little tag at the wall there from Ben Faulkner just in front, and Lachlan Capel looking to get a couple more points then with 8 to go when they next cross the line until stage points. Capel is really pushing here as he looks at Logan Howard, who's had a lovely quiet day inside the top 10. Reese, I'm just going to put this to you right now. There's only one driver who started outside the top 10 in the top 10 right now, and that is Lockie Capel.
Yeah, it's really working nicely is Lachlan Capel at the moment. Up 2 places into 9th, and he's just keeping things nice and steady, following what his teammate Tyson Broad has been doing. Of course, he hasn't had as good a time of it as Broad has, but looking after the car, keeping himself in the top 10. He will get stage points if he manages to consolidate this position, or maybe he'll go for it on Logan Howard. Here, contact across the start-finish line. Capel's going to have to be careful of that. There's space to the inside for him to slip through, but the battle will continue. A slightly compromised exit then, and Lewis Greathead will get the run on him into turn 3. Oh, that's a big move, big slide for Greathead. He manages to hold on to it, but it loses all of his momentum. Up the front of the field as well, Cody Deeth's pace has dropped off, and Ethan Winter is about to put him a lap down again.
And he's going to fight this, I'm sure, here is Cody Deeth, because this is a lap that he desperately needs back. So this is going to have to take a lot of responsibility. Deeth now taking the inside line, washing up the circuit. No, I'm back to 4 down, and I didn't get the caution I wanted. So the tyre's burning up now then for Cody Deeth at Eclipse Sim Sport, and that's going to put him in trouble. Sam Chapman now looking late here for a 4th place here on the stage points. Howard still having to scrap. Kerr is the one who's on the outside. Lovely stuff door to door then as they work through 1 and 2. Howard is just glued to the side there of Lachlan Capel, trying to work the high line again here to 3.
Oh, this is a tight fight. Who's going to win out? Finally, Lachlan Capel clears Logan Howard, and he's up to 8th spot. But not many laps left in the stage to close that gap. A little further ahead to Byron Phillips, and there's a bit of a gulf between Phillips and Horton as well, so Capel may not gain any more positions out of that one, but now that he's past Howard, he can focus on attacking again. He flings it in to turns 3 and 4, and well, we're only about 6 laps or so away from the stage ending. Tyler Williams in the top 10 here, but only just. Scott Rankin looking for some stage points here. Look at the way he gets it into the first turn there, as Greathead is not too far behind. Greathead trying to recover from that slide we saw happen for him a little earlier. His tyres will be complaining too.
They will be, and he will know that he's running out of time to go and get a point or two in the back pocket, and they all add up. Every little helps, as they say. But here at Iowa, you're going to have to start thinking about long game here, and everyone's going to be on the same play. Look at this then as they start charging up. That's Nick Ryan, some lap traffic they've got to deal with in front. But Kerr right now in the middle of this orange sandwich here. Look at the slide then behind from Josh Horton. He's looking to try and get something off for the exit here. He's not quite got it. Now we start the final lap of stage one.
Yep, here we go. We're moving our way up, and the caution will come out once 10th place crosses the line, and it's such a tight fight for that 10th place. Williams holds on to it. Rankin still on the outside looking in. Ethan Winter crosses the line, and that's the end of the stage there. But who's going to get that magic 10th? It looks like Williams has done just enough to hold off Scott Rankin there. And the caution comes out just in time, apparently, for the Supra of Jacob O'Reilly, whose tyres are surely crying out for a change.
Yeah, they'll probably need one here, but what a lovely start to racing, and completely different, Reese, to what we saw at New Hampshire. I, for one, am really excited that we have gone caution-free through the entire first stage.
I agree. Fantastic to see. We really got a good eye into which drivers are strongest on those long runs as well. The Vortex, number 39 here of Ethan Winter, is certainly got the most consistent pace out there right now. But the likes of Tyson Broad and Wayne Burke, they're working very nicely too. So it's going to be a super tight fight. Cody Deeth, they're going to stay out to get a lap back as our leaders come into the pits for their first fuel up and tyre change of the race. Josh Purwin is our lucky dog, and he had a 3-second advantage over Shane Bowen for that lucky dog when we were checking in on him scything his way through the pack. So that's going to be back onto the lead lap for him.
Everyone except Byron Phillips has pitted.
Yeah, righto. That's quite interesting, which, according to Jay, a producer in the box, means that not everyone is going to get their laps back. Cody Deeth is going to get a lap back. Josh Purwin will. But aside from that, all of our other drivers who were off the lead lap not going to get the lap back under this caution.
So that will be Marcus Watson and Shane Bowen, who are going to be the ones in the wrong place at the wrong time. But we've also got here Tyson Broad, who has been keeping a good close eye on things. And Tyson, what a great stint you've had. That car is on rails in the mid-stint.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry. Just having a little personal drama at the minute.
Oh, goodness. Well, we've caught a little bit of a rough time there. I don't think he was quite ready for us. But, Tyson, what a great run the 25's having today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the setup's really, really good. Yeah, just trying to preserve the tyre at the first part of the stint to really attack in the mid part.
And how does that look like for you then? This track's certainly getting hotter as it goes on, but it's sort of plateaued a little bit. Are you looking at these hotter conditions thinking, right, I think I can have a really good go at Ethan Winter on this restart?
Yeah, definitely. As soon as I got in the second, I was trying to catch Ethan at the beginning part there, but yeah, once I realized the gap wasn't really coming down, I was just trying to consolidate P2. Had Wayne come up behind me a bit there, but managed to just eke out a gap and just look after my stuff and, yeah, end up P2 for that stage.
Well, we're going to let you get on because it's 1 to green in the Logitech GOD BM25 there. The Toyota Supra is looking good. Tyson Broad there, Reese, from second position out there for this restart.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Tyson. We'll check in with him later, I am sure. For now, though, he has the front row with Ethan Winter for the first restart of the race to bring us in to stage 2, which will take us to lap 100. No caution to end the second stage, so we'll need to be careful of that one. Review then of the stages. As you can see, numbers are right there. But I think pretty much everyone who pitted on that stage caution is going to have used up one of their 6 tyre sets. So 5 tyre sets remaining for just about everybody in the field. Nick Ryan pitted on the 2nd lap, and that's the reason why we saw him a bit further down the field as well. Into the restart zone then, and power up at the front of the field. Across the corn, Ethan Winter leads the way, and Wayne Burke getting an excellent run on Tyson Broad here, but Tyson as strong as ever on that middle line. Look at the momentum he's carrying out of turn 2.
Absolutely, and that's what's been able to save his bacon on that run. Look up high side here for Sam Chapman now, looking to try and manoeuvre into placement here. This is where everyone's got to start thinking about, how aggressive do I want to be on this restart? Am I going to get my opportunities here to set this up the way I need to? And again, pinned down low. Wayne Burke just able to get that one to hook up, gets himself to 3rd, and they put themselves into line now through the top 7.
Looks to me like, Ethan Winter's car clearly strong down the bottom. He's been glued to the lower side of these corners the whole time. Burke, I think, is able to move around a little more. His car is more of an all-round strong machine in more places. We check in on the midfield, though. The number 99 trying his best to make a move here. Tyler Williams and Logan Howard just at the back end of the top 10 here. Williams got the stage points, but we'll see if he can get any more of them by the end of stage 2. On board with Eli Donaldson then, as Lewis Greathead and Matt Bailey are ahead of him. The Hex Blue Ford Mustang is Logan Howard in the 012. Look at the change in trajectory there from Matt Bailey. He was going to get a great slingshot out onto the back stretch, but Logan Howard was in his way. Now the door opens for Eli Donaldson once again.
Yeah, but he doesn't get a good enough run, and ultimately he's going to have to stay and fall back then, as Matt Bailey has got himself covered. Lewis Greathead down low against Logan Howard, and in front of that, Scott Rankin trying to go here with Lachlan Capel on the outside. The 2 teammates then working hard together. Horton then is the one who's trying to cover that off in 6, but for the moment, Eli down low, and that's going to be trouble. High side into the wall, but we're going to stay green because there's no rotation. Matt Bailey just jumped up there.
Yeah, not ideal for Matt Bailey. He's going to fall outside the top 20 as a result of that one. It just looked to me like he was angling for that inside, but Eli Donaldson went into turn 3 just a little bit too hard. Good job, though, for Tyler Williams, for Matt Bailey, sorry. Excellent save to keep us going in green flag conditions. Here's the other view of it. Yeah, just quarter-to-quarter contact and just enough of a nice trajectory up to the safer barrier for Matt Bailey to continue on. Now we move back to the fight for 11th, and also the fight for the lead, because Tyson Broad is going for it on Ethan Winter. Got up the inside in turn 3, but Winter powering out of turn 4. Higher line wins almost every time.
Yeah, so well covered at the moment. Tyson looks to jump onto that 2nd lane as well, but he can't leave that one too much on the bottom because Wayne Burke will try and take advantage. Really tough position for Tyson Broad at the moment. For Vermilion, Wayne Burke is giving a very close eye on what he thinks is going to work for him. He works himself out of 4, but this is just a case of they are feeling out what these drivers are capable of right now, because they didn't really have much, these drivers, Broad and Burke, to test Ethan Winter. This is the first time to say, you know nothing, Ethan. I am going to find my way past the white wall.
Right then, battle continuing to close, and our top 5 seem to have formed a bit of a breakaway here. Burke is making tracks on Broad and Winter right now. Lap times across the line, we see that, in fact, Tyson Broad seems to be the fastest car in the top 5 right now, but only by 1,000th of a second. Wayne Burke setting a time incredibly close to that. The slipstream gets picked up again for Broad, and he's going to ride Ethan Winter's bumper on the way through 3 and 4. They're both going a little higher now, but Burke's sticking to that inside line, and it's really netting him some extra couple of tenths in the mid-corner.
I do need to note we've had our 2nd retiree of the race from Lachlan Frank. It's Clayton Davies in the number 50. He just drove it to the pits and parked the car. So a shame to see that, but Ethan Winter now, look at how close that Supra gets. running into 3, and now looks to drive it down low off the exit to force the 2 wide momentum. Now Tyson's going to have to be very aggressive with Ethan Winter, because Ethan is very commanding where he puts the car, and Ethan is already starting to line up there between the rubbered in and unrubbered in sections there of asphalt there on the outside, and he is just flirting with that line enough to say, yeah, you'll be entitled to a second date in first place.
Yeah, once again, Broad trying to get that inside move, but it didn't work. And I think the challenge now is going to be, how can he set up an outside move? He'll have to throw Ethan Winter off somehow. Maybe he'll get some assistance from Wayne Burke, but just as likely, Wayne Burke is looking to pass the both of them and move on with his own race. Coming up to the start of lap 79 now. We will be only about 11 or 12 laps away from the end of stage 2, a very short stage indeed, but the points will matter, and Berkey's trying to go for every single one he can. He hasn't had quite as much success this season as the likes of Ethan Winter, despite arguably carrying a bit more pace at times.
What a run by Tyson Broad. Again, he gets to the door, but on the bottom line, he needs to just drive it strong here off the exit, loses that ground, and again, it doesn't quite manage to manifest in the way that he wants it to. So he's really having to start thinking about, okay, well, what does that mean? It is a hornet's nest behind them in around 15th, 16th, 17th right now, where it's 2 wides and 3 wides, no matter where you're going. And this is what happened then for the 05. Bang! Into the side of the 79. That shows you how difficult it is out there. So that 05 of Ryan Barber going backwards and suffering a little bit. That was Bryce Harding who had the tap with 3 wide behind us. Again, Broad now trying to work high side to hope something will manifest, and he's going to have to come back low and block.
Wayne Burke gets stymied just a little bit, and you see now that Burke's momentum has been arrested somewhat. Sam Chapman is starting to catch up. Zach Kerr still hanging in the background there.
Trouble.
Oh, yeah. Dodgson is around, and he's falling down the order, but it seems that we stay green again.
Yeah, he's down on the infield, so they're not going to call it a caution because he's down on the infield. He's done that coming off the corner. He just got hooked with Cody Deeth, the lap down traffic, who was trying to make progress through the field. And when he's already had to serve a pit lane start, basically, or a drive-through in this one, Cody's going to get another one, then in for trouble. You can see he washes out through the middle of the corner. He looks for a way to get the drive off the exit and then tags his rear.
Yeah, it's such a shame for Ashley Dodgson. Just managed to avoid getting back onto the racetrack there, but head-on contact with the safer barrier, that is not healthy for a stock car engine. So Dodgson will spend some time in the pits seeing if he can get that repaired. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back out, though. Battle for the top 2. And I mean, you could almost just as well call it a battle for the top 4 at this point because they're so close together. Tyson Broad still the main attacker here. Wayne Burke hanging back now. I think he's just trying to set up another maneuver.
Trouble in the back. Caution's going to come out for the first time. It's Byron Phillips who's around there. Big issue with Ethan Cale.
Oh, that's big. Huge incident on the exit of turn 2 there, and I think it may have been caused by Cale just being really slidey coming into turn 1.
He had help.
In fact, yeah, he did have help. It was Ryan Barber who got into the back of him. And, you know, in these hot track temperatures, once the tires get in that sliding phase, there's no way to really cool them down. There's the initial contact, and it was well held by Ethan Cale initially. He was squirming down there on the bottom, but then secondary contact from Barber sends him around, and then the number 87 goes, well, there's really not much I can do there. Indeed, the 67 of Byron Phillips getting involved in that through very little fault of his own. First, I suppose, yellow flag caution of the race there for a crash. And no surprise to see that basically everybody has come into pit lane. It would appear Marcus Watson has stayed out to try and get a lap back.
Now, here's my question here, Reese. Who's going to gamble on 2 tyres to try and get ahead?
This is the question. There could be a lot of track position available. It looks like Wayne Burke almost getting it done there. He has managed to come out in 3rd still. Ethan Winter leading the race out of pit road. I don't see anyone who's really taken... Yeah, no one's taken just 2 tires at this stage. I think everyone's just a bit too afraid of how the left side tires are going to manage with the amount of heat that's being put into them.
I would have thought about making that a gamble, because you've still got about 13 laps to go. If you're down in the 20s, save yourself 5 seconds. That could jump you up a number of places there on the order. So everyone opting, though, for 4, because they realise there's going to be no caution for you. So it's going to be a case of long game would play. I think if that was 13 laps to go in stage 1, you'd see more of that than you would do in stage 2. But Ethan Winter still in control. Tyson Broad, Wayne Burke, Sam Chapman, Zach Kerr, your top 5 remain unchanged from the start there of that stint that goes through. It's now going to be interesting to see how much this will now factor into the restart, because they'll be down to 4 sets of tyres to go. So if it does devolve, they're going to have a really good sense of, okay, we've got the tyres to play with as and when we choose it. But right now, this is settling yourself down into rhythm. Look to try and save that fuel a little bit as well, and just make sure that you've got every single mark that you have available. And I think Ethan Kerr was really, really unlucky in that incident. He did everything right to save the car. Just a case, really, of understanding that there was a demon barber out there on the outside. Sweeney Todd being reprised there by Ryan.
For sure. Yeah, that double hit is probably not going to win Ryan Barber many favours with the stewards. In any case, lights are off on the pace car, and we're going to get ready for the second restart of this race. First one from a naturally occurring caution. I think that Wayne Burke now on the fresh tyres is going to be really harassing the back of Tyson Broad and Ethan Winter. I think that bit more tyre conservation from Broad and Winter in spite of their tight battling. Wayne Burke clearly more aggressive on the way into the corners. So keep your eyes on that green number 89. He's going to be the one I think will be making some real moves here off this restart.
Yeah, he's going to want to make moves, and Reese, quite simply put, watch out in this restart, because when the green's dropped, Ethan's dropped.
And away he goes. Lovely start. Tyson Broad not quite responding as quickly as he would have wanted, and Wayne Burke is already up alongside him and nose ahead into turn 1, but Broad flings it around the outside of turns 1 and 2 and gets the momentum out of the corner. So now Wayne Burke swaps up to the high line to try and follow him along. Ethan Winter is hugging that. Oh dear. Oh, trouble in the midfield there. Oh, the caution is back out again. It looks like Scott Rankin involved in that one, along with Blaine Densley, Josh Perwin, and Fitzroy Beaumont. See Dave Douglas also with trouble. Oh dear, rear bumper parts there from Fitzroy Beaumont's car. And we have our second naturally occurring caution of the race already.
Well, Scott Rankin's gone for the inside then on, I believe, Lachlan Capel. And Capel, his teammate, has gone, no, I'm going to throw the block. I don't want you to come down. The two have come together, and ultimately up into Howard went Lachlan Capel. Rankin found himself in the middle, turned around, hooks the 27 of Blaine Densley, and that causes the secondary wreck on the top side. Rankin's trying to hold it, gets the help, and then Densley ends up coming up, catches Beaumont and a couple others up there on the top side. Really nasty incident out there, but that's what we say here in NASCAR racing, in stock car style racing. Cautions breed cautions. Now be careful at your peril.
Absolutely. Well, Rankin will be feeling a little sheepish after that one. It was it was a justified lunge, but the door was rapidly closing as he came up to it. This is Densley's view of it all. The incident happens right in front of him, and Rankin just tags him there. He goes up into Beaumont, and poor Dave Douglas and Josh Perwin, they had nothing to work with there up the top. Their lanes were just blocked.
Yeah, Josh Perwin there in the 999 was saying call an ambulance, and it will have to be for me for how quickly he found himself there, just wedged in up on the top side. And this is what we keep talking about here. You've got to avoid the trouble here in these races, because there are no fast repairs. If you crash it, you're out. And that sort of incident is what you are taught to try and avoid here at Iowa. We keep saying it, Reese. A caution around this track can happen from absolutely anywhere, at any place, at any time. You can hook anybody at any moment. That would have been the scary one. And for those in the mid-pack, they would have all just been hoping right place, right time. Perwin did the right thing. Sorry, not Perwin. Blaine Densley did the right thing. He got down onto the apron to try and avoid the incident. The one issue that he didn't factor for, Scott Rankin was also heading down to the apron.
Yeah, it's always tough trying to avoid a wreck, even at the relatively lower speeds of a track like Iowa. You only have so much time to react to what's happening in front of you, and there's an inherent chaos, an inherent randomness to how cars are going to scatter and bounce off each other when an incident like that happens. So, you can go for what you think is your best chance of getting through it, but it's still ultimately a roll of the dice. Densley and Beaumont with meatball flags from what we're being told. If you're unfamiliar with racing flags, it's the black flag with the red-orange circle in the middle of it that's shown to drivers when they have a car that is in an unsafe condition. It cannot be driven out on track because it's got essential parts missing, or it's just going to be a danger to others, so they have to get in and repair it. Good news for Scott Rankin. He's managed to get his car repaired, and he has worked his way back out onto the circuit. Josh Perwin is back out as well. Densley, Beaumont, and Douglas still in the pits getting those repairs done. And as I said, Densley and Beaumont, well, they're probably the least likely to be able to make their way back out on track now.
I always seem to find it to be a case of, okay, you see the meatball flag, where's your nearest Little Italy? Unfortunately for these drivers, it's all the way in New York, so that's 1,000 miles and 16 hours. So go to Little Italy while you go and get that repaired. But getting ready for that restart, Broad's got to be aggressive now, because twice he's been caught out by how early Ethan Winter's gone.
Right at the start of the restart zone is when Ethan's been putting that power down. Broad will be monitoring him here. And once again, massive launch from Ethan Winter. It's only a hundredth, maybe a tenth of a second at most, but it grants him about 2 or 3 car lengths into turn 1. And Wayne Burke is already completely clear of Tyson Broad through turns 1 and 2. He'll move up into second spot and now really start attacking Ethan Winter. But he's stuck down low. Broad might be able to come back at him from here. Following him on the high line is the Vermilion Supra of Sam Chapman, but he's not been able to dispatch Zach Kerr just yet. He's going to try and switch to the inside line. Broad still trying to get the move back on Wayne Burke, and he's starting to make gains on Winter as well. The top 3 are compressing as Broad taps the wall.
Yeah, but he's going to get a run here on the high side to look to try and get this back on Wayne Burke. He's not going to sit by idly. He wants to gain this place. He'll now get the toe on the main run from Ethan Winter as they now look to start stringing out here. Find a line, find a lane, and find some confidence as they work into 1 and 2. Kerr now also trying to follow on that high line. Broad will now have the clearance here on Wayne Burke, and Burke can't merge up on the high side because here comes Zach Kerr trying to make that work to get back into third. He was in the dash for cash last week with Zach. He was unlucky, and Wayne Burke gets right up to the wheel and doesn't quite get much more than that. 4 to go when they now as they cross the line. Here's they wait for stage 2.
Yeah, we've got potential for an early stage finish here if they can't keep it together. If a caution comes out from this point onwards, that's going to be the end of the stage right there. So they need to be careful to give each other a requisite amount of room. Tyson Broad and Wayne Burke almost coming together a couple of times, and now Zach Kerr is going to find his way past Burke on the outside. Burke appears to be the only car that's really struggling there. That's a big check up from our leaders, by the way, and Wayne Burke's going to get back alongside Tyson Broad. This is going to be a super tight finish to the stage as Broad goes for the move on Ethan Winter into the lead. They make contact and slow each other up. Winter recovering on the high side, more contact. Great save from Tyson Broad. He'll lead across the stripe, but now Winter's going to come back at him, sliding up. Both of them wash up the track, and Wayne Burke, 3 wide down low, goes for the lead.
What an incredible sequence there. Tyson Broad has no right to still be in this race with that. What a save. That was over the front. They know now that lap 100 comes up into view. Wayne Burke still fighting Ethan Winter, refusing to let go with 1 to go here in the stage. Kerr is working on the outside, but Wayne Burke now has got to make that inside work. The middle line is the best one, and Winter's going to get clearance.
Stage points on the line here. Winter wants to keep that lead from Berkey. Zach Kerr behind, gaining on the way into turn 3, but out of turn 4 on lap 100, it's going to be Ethan Winter who takes the stage win there, and just working his way up into 9th. Lewis Greathead behind. He manages to get a few extra stage points then over Eli Donaldson, but the fighting does not stop. No caution for the end of the second stage. We are still racing, and our top 2 going neck and neck as they are for P3 and 4. In fact, Josh Horton and Sam Chapman side by side behind. It's looking like a proper 2-lane affair now.
Right, they've got half a race to now figure out where they want to be, how they want to go and score, and how strategy is going to put itself into play. This is where long game is going to start overtaking short game at the moment, and you start seeing here, now is when you're going to get the movement here from Horton and Chapman, because look at Josh Horton on the outside. He is just trying to run the same lines as the car in front. Kerr finding out now, I've not got the draft, which is going to lose me about a 10th on every run. And if the high side's not going to work, you're going to have to just keep plugging away at it. This is brilliant stuff then from Josh Horton, who moves up and gets another.
Worth pointing out as well, Lewis Greathead and Eli Donaldson at the back end of the top 10. They were tied to 3 decimal places for the stage finish. It's super close out there right now. And you will notice as well, the track's looking a bit darker than it was before. A cloud's come over the racetrack, and that has dropped the track temperature under 40 degrees Celsius for the first time today.
And it is in sim time, 4:15, so naturally it's going to get cooler as today goes on. So that will help these drivers on tyres on the long run, and they'd love a long run at this point to count themselves down the laps that they have necessary as they now start to form that single file package. Donaldson and Williams then they are at the moment, and then you've got Marcus Watson there in the Project 36 cars. Now remember here, Reese, when Marcus Watson started this race a lap down and now has found his way back to top 10'sville almost now as he works on the outside.
Very impressive recovery from Marcus Watson. That Project 36 car is looking rapid, but a little tap of the safer barrier on the run up to the start-finish line isn't going to help matters. He's got single file ahead of him, and they're so close together in front, it's going to be really difficult to slot yourself in somewhere to try and make some moves. Just looking outside the top 10 and having a great view of the battling going on ahead of him as Marcus Watson chases Tyler Williams. For the moment, Williams is the only car in the field to still be in the same position he started in. Still 10th spot, but he's got great potential to get a little further up. Cuts low, and Marcus Watson running a bit high off the bottom. He's trying to get that momentum in the mid-corner, but it's just not coming.
Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. So we've lost Lachlan Frank, Clayton Davies, Cody Deeth, Ashley Dodgson, Byron Phillips, Blaine Densley, Fitzroy Beaumont. Dave Douglas is still going, but he's down 12 laps and down in the pits. And Matt Bailey now out of the race. Perwin is the last car back there at 17 seconds, adrift. But everyone else now is looking to try and settle in and realise, right, we're the ones who's going to start playing for points, and we're going to play for points aggressively. Bit of too wide back there for the moment. Jacob O'Reilly then trying to set one on the high side of Seth Brown.
Here we go. This is them battling just inside the top 20. Brown on the higher grip, darker tarmac. He is going to get the run into turn 1, and O'Reilly now needs to turn his attention a bit further back because here comes Scott Rankin, driver who brought out the most recent caution, and he's back into the top 20, running the same sort of setup as Ethan Winter. They are teammates at Vortex Sim Sport. Opposite ends of the field just about, but Rankin has got a lot of potential here. He definitely has top 10 pace, but will he take the care that he needs here? Let's look at that exit then, out of turn 3. He catches up just a little bit more, but I mean, it's so hard to find time around here, especially when the track starts cooling down again and the drivers find pace and get their tyres in their optimum range.
Yeah, there's always a cliff edge, and you're trying to keep the tyre working in a window where it doesn't just suddenly drop away. And that's what I think everyone's keeping an eye out on with. Scott Rankin as well knows how important it is just to keep himself in the window, in the wheelhouse, find the moves that allow this one to open and operate the way that he intends. And after the smack up that he had, which caused the latest caution, I think he's going to be very grateful that he's back here in 19th working. He's not having to see a lot more aggressive running. Wayne Burke, though, losing that 3rd place. Tyson Broad through now up into 2nd, getting that done into 1, and managed that with a lovely crossover move down the inside at 1, and it was given away by Wayne Burke.
A little bit of contact there across the stripe. Burke got into the safer barrier. That cost him a bit of speed. That certainly helped Tyson Broad's case there. But now the opportunity is back for Wayne Burke to work his way back past in the 2nd. The sun's back out, by the way. That cloud has passed, and we could see the track temperature rise by a few more degrees once again. It's back up to 40, so looking to see that climb just a little more. It's been quite a bit of variance over the course of the race so far, but consistency is key. And it looks like Ethan Winter is the most consistent out there. He's just been strutting away in the lead. Marcus Watson, meanwhile, he's found his way into the top 10. Worked his way past Tyler Williams, and his next target is Eli Donaldson.
We love a way through. Lovely little understanding here of the roll cages and how much support is needed for these structures as they work on into 1 and 2 once again. You will notice that we are down to just 2 Dash for Cash runners, so Ethan Winter, in theory, can give up 18 places and still pocket 50 in cash. Just leaving pit lane there on the left side is Nick Ryan, who is now a lap down, and so he's going to be looking at this going, okay, that's an early green flag stop with 86 laps to go here at Iowa.
And that's basically right in the margin for getting to the end on fuel. 96 to 98 laps of fuel, but can be stretched to about 103 according to the info that Ethan Winter gave us before the race. So look for Nick Ryan to be going tyres only from here on out. The rest of them, well, remains to be seen. They will have covered a good amount of fuel with the tyre changes under the cautions. Oh, hello, we're starting to get a bit racy here between Ben Faulkner and Lachlan Mead. This is for 13th spot, and Ryan Barber's right behind them there. Justin Clayton and Seth Brown also involved in the fight, and Brown up 16 positions now as he is probably licking his lips at this battle. They're slowing each other up as they try to sort themselves out side by side, washing up just a little bit there as Lachlan Mead. Ben Faulkner opens the steering just in time, and Ryan Barber will stick it through on the outside line coming into turns 1 and 2.
Wow, will the Southern Stars align then for Ryan Barber? Gets the drive off the exit, monsters it past Lachlan Mead, and now behind Justin Clayton moves down low side. They're getting busy in the mid-pack in front of them as well, with the likes of Eli Donaldson, the lap down Nick Ryan trying to work his way through with Williamson and Harding, who are both up there and starting to motor. So you're going to see these packs open up and close back in, and there's going to be little pockets of action as far as the track's going to offer at this point. It has been a relatively strong race out there from what they've got. Lachlan Capel going long way around now. He's looking for a way past Lewis Greathead.
Looked like a little bit of oversteer in 3 and 4 there from Capel. He's pushing hard. Nick Ryan down on the bottom there. Remember, he's a few laps down. He's tried his best to stay with them. He's running a bit of an alternate strategy at the moment. Nick Ryan's been struggling a little bit at Iowa from what I can see. So now he's a bit of a thorn in the side to Lockie Capel. As they are in 7th, he's down in 24th, but only 6 laps on those tyres for Nick Ryan. So he's going to be the paciest car in the field at the moment.
He is. He's going to be really motoring, and he'll also be motoring for another important reason here, which is to get one of his 2 laps back out there after taking service. Marcus Watson trying to work hard here with Eli Donaldson, who just continues to work the high line well, and it's covering off that line. A lack of slipstream for Marcus Watson is costing him at the moment. The toe not beneficial, and something else that's going to be difficult if you're about 2-3 tenths of a second back. There's a lot of aero wash out there. There's a lot of push on these cars from the dirty air, the vortexes and turbulences that come off these stock cars. Very tough circuit to hold together. You find a pack and you stay with it.
Yeah, even though the speeds aren't quite as high as we saw at some of the tracks earlier on in the season, like Michigan and Atlanta as well, these cars still quite sensitive to aero disturbances at Iowa, and you spend so much time turning at this circuit that you're basically being affected by it the whole way around. You only get a few seconds to really rest when you get to this back stretch, and even then, looks like Ryan Barber isn't resting right now. He is fighting the rear end of that 05 Camaro as Lachlan Mead rounds him up once again right at the quarter there across the start-finish line, and will move down to the inside into turn 1. It's all happening behind them as well. Clayton, Brown, O'Reilly, Rankin and Boyd, they're all trying to catch up, but rubbing door panels as Ryan Barber and Lachlan Mead. And there's the contact. Mead sent down low, and he's trying to make a recovery there. Slight slide. He'll keep that slide going all the way through 3 and 4 and lose all of that momentum. Here comes Justin Clayton.
Lucky lad, Lachlan Mead. Just about holding steady. Clayton then washes out big time over on the top line. That won't work. So That just tells you there just how tough it is. Lachlan Mead, side-to-side contact on that 4 degrees of banking on the backstretch. And that's why 4 degrees matters a lot more than 0 degrees, because that wouldn't have been contact if that were any other backstretch.
Certainly not. You are driving on the exit of turn 2 basically all the way until you turn in for turn 3 here. They're still side by side, Lachlan Mead and Ryan Barber. This is a really tight fight, but you can see that there's just no way to really gain by going for the inside, because the outside line will get the momentum on the way out. I think that Mead's going to have to try something different here if he wants to work his way past Barber. Bit of a thorn in the side as well as Ben Faulkner up ahead of them. He'll be giving both of them a bit of aero disturbance with some clear track ahead of him.
I think you just got to drive into the corner a bit more aggressively there, like what Lachlan Mead's just done. Gives him a little bump on the side to say, hey, look, I'm going to get there. They're equal on the stint, no shocks about that. As they cross the corner and go again for it with 73 laps to go, Ryan Barber has to drive it deeper on the high side. He's now going to square off the corner because he got a pocket of clean air and drives it off the exit. That's how you got to clear it in this group.
Yeah, but leave the inside open again. It's not going to be too bad for Barber. He'll straighten the car up a little sooner. It looks like he had to have a couple of goes at just keeping the rear end under control there. These may be not the top level NASCAR stock cars. They are the O'Reilly Auto Parts machines, so they don't produce as much power as the current Sprint Cup ones do. But we'll see more of the power delivery here on the exit of turn 4. Oh, there's still plenty of power available. And Ryan Barber not just getting ahead of Lachlan Mead, but he's going to go for the move on Ben Faulkner, who washes way high in turns 1 and 2. Get the feeling his tyres might have given up.
Yeah, just tried to experiment there with a different line. It didn't work, and then Mead was given the chance then on the exit, so he's driven down low. He's almost got the clearance now, and he will clear the group. Faulkner now is going to try and pocket through the middle, jumps away around there, Justin Clayton, and now is going to have another go down on the inside. This is for 13th place on back, and they're all starting to form up here. Watch out for the likes of Jacob O'Reilly looking aggressive on the back of this one. Scott Rankin will want a piece of it too.
Yeah, look at the pace drop-off there from Ben Faulkner. He's been left behind, but he's going to try and get momentum on the exit of turn 4 there to stay in touch. Rankin in the background going for it on Jacob O'Reilly. And O'Reilly will hold strong on the way through. Seems like Seth Brown is in the midst of all of this as well. Brown backing off a bit into turns 1 and 2. Running that sort of middle line. Rankin doing what Ethan Winter's been doing all race long and sticking down low. The Vortex cars seem very strong on the bottom.
They do. They're just able to drive it and able to continually use that tyre a little bit better than everybody else. I also do want to point out that Nick Ryan has made his way past Tyson Broad, and soon we'll be looking at Ethan Winter soon. So that'll be something to note. But look at the 120 for the time being here. He's eyeing up Ben Faulkner, and Faulkner's had this problem for the last few rounds here, Reese, where he's got a car that looks very good early on, but absolutely falls off a cliff in the long-run performance here, and I think he's going to have to work on that on his setup. Don't just practice the first 10 laps. Actually practice long run, and you might find you've got a car that works, because again, he's just bounced off the wall there, coming off of 2. That is not stable at all. He's got a car that is looser than a goose.
And you can see it here with way everyone's rounding him up here. Justin Clayton going to try to move past him here into turns 1 and 2. And up the high side there, Seth Brown, he's actually gotten a really good line through 1 and 2. The momentum he's carrying onto the back stretch there, I think he's going to be boxed in, though, as Clayton and Faulkner continue their fight. Rankin continuing to make up some pace there. There goes Seth Brown. He's going to try and thread the needle here, but makes contact with Clayton across the line, and that's going to be the 3rd caution that's come out today.
That was destined to happen. We've been seeing Faulkner grabbing the wall a couple of times already. Smoke pouring out the back of the 29. It's going to do no favours for Seth Brown. And ultimately there, Brown had to move down to avoid, but he came down a little too far. Clayton thought he had himself clear down on the bottom. They hooked together. Oh, goodness me. That is never a pretty instant there. Yeah, in the wall. And when we say, oh, it can happen anywhere, it means even across the stripe.
Yeah, real shame there. I mean, I understand what Seth Brown's attitude was there. He's like, yes, I've got to run. I'm going to go for it. But he was probably anticipating a little more room to be left by Justin Clayton, who, to be fair to him, was just holding his lane. He wasn't deviating from his line at all. Brown was the one who was deviating. Just an unfortunate set of circumstances for them. So now Seth Brown and Justin Clayton are the next drivers to get the dreaded meatballs, so it looks to me like that's going to be the last we see of them in this race as everyone comes into pit lane and gets a fresh set of tires on, maybe a bit of fuel if they need it. They won't need to put as much in as they would probably think, because we're going to have about 62 laps to go when the caution ends, maybe a little bit less. There's the run out of pit lane, and Nick Ryan stayed out of the pits here to try and gain a lap back. And we'll see if that works out for him. He has gotten the lucky dog, so he'll be able to drive around. Only one lap down now for the number 70.
He'll be happy about that, knowing that he's got his one lap available now. He knows what he's got to do. He just needs one more, and he's back in position to race for it. So it's Winter who is out in front at the moment, with second position belonging to Tyson Broad and Wayne Burke third. It's then Chapman, Kerr and Horton, with Lachlan Capel seventh, Greathead Williams, and then Marcus Watson. What a drive back through he's had, making up your top 10. We're down to just 20 cars currently on the lead lap after that hit. So Brown has gone and dropped the lap. So too has Justin Clayton and Ben Faulkner, all three that were involved in the incident. And now I think this is a chance to really assess where you are. I don't think 60 laps to go here, Reese, is time for you to go uber on it. But you're starting to switch on, I think. You're just starting to let the machine run a little bit, dial up, gain a temperature, and then I think you're going to be, right, we're in game time.
Yeah, I think the run through stage one, which again, fantastic to see that we went green flag all the way through stage one. That was 60 laps, and we'll be having about 60 laps to go when we go green next. So I certainly hope that the drivers gathered some data, some useful data from stage one. It will help them here. But another factor to consider is the ever-changing track temperature. Another cloud's come over the circuit, and the track temperature is the lowest it's ever been, 36 Celsius. I think that's right in the ballpark for being able to preserve tires properly. I think the drivers that we saw struggling, like, for example, the number 28 of Ben Faulkner, I mean, he's down in the pits with damage, so we won't be able to see how he could cope with the lower track temperatures, but other drivers who have had trouble keeping their temperatures under control will certainly be enjoying the conditions right now.
They certainly will, and I tell you what, we've had a couple cautions come through recently, and I blame Dan Yeaman for saying something.
Of course. Race admin in here in the box with us. So, time for the restart then, with 60 laps to go in round 6 of the Oceanic Stock Car Association Championship Series here at Iowa. Ethan Winter away to a great start, as we've become used to seeing him get here today in Corn Country, but it's on for second place. Wayne Burke, maybe his tyres aren't quite up to temp yet. A big wiggle there on the exit of turn 2, and Tyson Broad holding strong on the sort of mid-line here. They almost make contact on the way out of 4, but now, that's contact in the background. Yep, that looks like Capel that got pushed back a little bit, and that's created a big problem for these drivers here in the mid-pack. Slight bits of contact from Ryan Barber and Scott Rankin, but somehow they all managed to make their way through it.
Well, the 43 got loose there. That was Josh Horton that caused the checkup then. He got loose, tagged Capel's rear. Both of them went up in the wall, and everybody had to scarper to try and find themselves some ground. They've managed to cool it down a little bit, but it's Winter who's away again. But Broad and Burke are the ones who are now having to scrap in second place. We watch a little bit further down because it is an absolute slugfest down in the middle. Daniel Boyd up on the top side, one of your Dash for Cash drivers here with Eli Donaldson, and now just looking at Lewis Greathead now in a scrap out right now here as Lachlan Capel tries to fight back.
Oh, they're all fanning out into turn 1 there. This is the initial slide here for Horton, and There's the contact, sending Capel up into the wall, and the cars are passing them like they're standing still. Big checkup having to be done there from Ryan Barber and co. And speaking of Barber, he just had a huge slide on the exit of 4. Scott Rankin and Lewis Greyhead both making their way through on him.
Yeah, he ended up getting loose up high, and that's cost him time and placement, so he'll have to fight to get that back. Barber now outside your top 10 with Lewis Greathead now quite comfortable in position. And look at Kerr getting into the side then. He's suddenly woken up here as he crosses the corner with 55 to go. He now realises, I want to get moving, I want to get scoring, and he's now second, but Broad's not giving it up on top side.
Yeah, so not only has Zach Kerr managed to make his way past Wayne Burke, he's having a lot of goes at Tyson Broad as things stand. Ethan Winter just keeps driving away from them. Gap out to about 0.7 of a second now as we start the 147th lap of this race. Lane keeps being left open there by Tyson Broad, but he's been really decisive in his line choice there. He is going for the middle and he is not moving. He's just focusing on making sure he has the tyres to fight with at the end, and he's preserving speed and momentum while he's doing it. I think he's in the best position here.
I'll tell you who is in the best position, Marcus Watson. He's now 6th. He's on the back of this group, and if he can find a top 5 finish today from being a lap down at the start with a black flag penalty, that goes down as a marauding drive and one that does need to be rewarded for the Project 36 machine. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, he would argue out there, but he is there, he is having to work, and that Chevrolet has just quietly sung all race long. The one issue he's had, he struggled a little bit when he's been caught in dirty air. Eli Donaldson, he struggled to get by, but he got a bit of help on that run, and now he thinks about the inside of 101 Sam Chapman, and still trying to go for it, nibbles his corner.
Oh, that was a little touch there through turn 4. Watson still has the inside, but you can see that the 101 is just turning down a little earlier. There's more contact between them in turn 2. I think Marcus Watson is hoping for a little more space down low, but Chapman is just angling his car towards that one lane up from the bottom every time, and I think he might be doing it a bit too soon for Marcus Watson's tastes.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much too quick, and it's making life really tough. You got, though, behind Bryce Harding starting to move as well. He's up on top side fighting with Tyler Williams here, who's now up a couple spots in this one. Harding gets the clearance. Another driver who started well outside of the top 25. A move up into the top 10 deep, and now starting to think about, okay, how much further forward can I run? And back here with Lachlan Mead, every time we go to Lachlan Mead, he's too wide somewhere, and now Ryan Barber again going up top side, trying to get by Lachlan Capel.
Yep, Capel will be dealing with a little bit of damage from his contact with the wall, maybe slightly rattled as well, but he's got Ryan Barber to his outside now, and Barber, focusing on that straight exit, is going to get just enough momentum out of the corner there. Is it going to be enough? It looks like it will be, and the 818 will have to settle in then to that position of 13th. But how far behind the likes of Lachlan Mead and Ethan Cale? Don't forget, we saw Ethan Cale spun around with some pretty significant damage off one of the cautions that we had before, and he still has a chance of getting into the top 10 from here.
He does. What a power move there from Lachlan Mead. Looking for a way to get it done. Can he drive it compared to Capel? No, is the answer, and it stays as it is. Same could be said there between Scott Rankin and Lewis Greathead, as Greathead was trying to find a way back. Barber goes up deep. That brings Capel now into a position of fight right now, and they've also got Daniel Boyd trying to make some late moves up there. I'll tell you what, Ethan Cale has done a really good job to keep himself relevant in this race.
Yep, could be seeing a couple of position changes in his future. There's Daniel Boyd, our other Dash for Cash driver in this round that is still running out on track. Up 8 positions now. It's been a quiet race, but a good turnaround for Daniel. and depending on how things go ahead of him, he could see a few more positions in his future. It's going to be a long way to catch Ethan Winter, though, and get that magic $50 cash. Speaking of Ethan Winter, we're in his rough area of the field now here with Zach Kerr still defending from Wayne Burke. Winter's lead out to over a second now. That mid-race pace that we're seeing from Ethan Winter, absolutely unassailable right now.
It's going to need some help, and it might need help late in this race to change that in terms of momentum. But Kerr in third, you got Burke then in fourth position. They're trying to chase down Tyson Broad here in second, and Broad has had a really astute run. This is probably the best we've seen Tyson running all season long, and I think he'll be very happy with the way that he's gone about business. But you're looking at these groups of drivers now, and I think they're trying to settle themselves down, get themselves to an end game. But when the chips go down and the tyre starts wearing, that's where we're going to see the problem. A little push out wide then from Lachlan Mead. Lachlan Capel doesn't take too kindly to that, drives it back off the exit, tries to get the clearance here into 3 and 4, doesn't, because Mead drives it back in again up to the door, and again is Capel who's going to be the one who battles in these two, looking to try and beat Top Lockie.
And it looks like, oh, big contact into one, and that's going to send Capel high. Oh, he cuts back underneath though. Big surprise there for Ethan Cale, who had to back out of it in a big way there into turn 3.
Oh, he's turned it.
He has. Oh, not quite. Holding on to it is Lachlan Mead, but Ethan Cale's going to get up into 14th as a result, and the cavalry is coming with him.
That is a shot to the back of Lachlan Mead, and that is a message from Lachlan Capel going, do not play that game with me, I will turn you. Mead did everything to try and hold him together, but the message clearly sent.
And now Lachlan Mead is crossed up with Joshua Horton here. The amount of times they've made contact through that one corner, I was trying to count it, but I immediately lost count. Now there's going to be another lunge, but it's covered off nicely by the number 19. And Daniel Boyd just been minding his own business at the back of this pack. He may stand to gain quite a bit from this. Scott Rankin, meanwhile, moving up into P8. He's just past Tyler Williams, but Williams round the outside of turn 4 is going to get the run on him across the stripe. This battle's been raging on the whole time we've been focused on other areas of the field. Lewis Greyhead and Eli Donaldson still chasing them. Rankin washes up a little high, but opening the steering is Tyler Williams to keep the position.
Yeah, so again, Tyler Williams just knowing where to place it, and Scott Rankin can't do anything but stare at it. Remember, he was involved in that big incident that caught out the likes of Josh Perwian, for example, out there in this race, and so he's been fighting to try and get himself back. And Eli Donaldson then finding himself starting to attack Lewis Greathead for position. So we're starting to see big moves, big placement starting to go through. 38 laps to go. They're starting to posture here, Reese, like, okay, we're not sure how much time we've got left.
Yeah, so now is the time that you need to sort of start showing your hand, so to speak. What kind of car do you really have for those final crucial 20 laps or so of this race? Zach Kerr holding on to P3. He hasn't quite been able to make any gains on Tyson Broad in the last few laps, and they're running more or less equal, Broad, Kerr and Burke, all in the 24.84 bracket on the previous lap to this one. Now, Zach Kerr runs a slight bit faster. We turn our attention back to Tyler Williams for now, though, as he's just set a 24.999. Absolutely fantastic pace that he's got at the moment. This slow motion from Rankin, though, just goes to show how difficult it is to keep that rear end under control, even when the car is going mostly straight.
Look how bumpy it is as well. This is and remember, this is one of the newer circuits on the NASCAR schedule. They only built this place in 2013. So as far as a circuit that breaks up this much goes, they've had to do a lot of work to bring this one back together again, and it goes to show you how hot, how difficult this track is, and actually how aggressive the running is around Iowa, because the speeds that they reach as they go around make a lot, and it breaks the surface up.
Yeah, the energy that's being put into that asphalt from these heavy stock cars and their powerful engines Just have a look at that temperature graph, by the way. It's going up and down all the way through this race, but I think we've settled into a comfortable median of about 37 to 38 degrees Celsius right now for the close of this race. Still on between Ethan Cale and Lachlan Mead, as I've just seen Joshua Horton lose a couple of spots. He's down to 18th now. It's not going well for the 43 who started this race on pole, but I'm not entirely certain how that came about for him. Ethan Cale, though, managing to keep Lachlan Mead behind for now. Oh, he got stuck against the wall, and he just did it again there. So while he may be making some good progress up to the back of Lachlan Capel and Ryan Barber, it's proving difficult to keep that momentum going, especially when you've got the ever-racy Lachlan Mead to your inside. Big slide from Mead there on live pictures. That is Horton getting some oversteer out of 4 and getting up into the wall, and he just couldn't get unstuck.
Yeah, just, again, circuit's going round to the left, cars trying to pivot round, and it's just going to keep bouncing against it. It's very tough. Eli Donaldson making moves as well now, looking for a way to get into the top 10, fighting hard with Lewis Greathead. Rankin now again to the inside of Williams just in front of that too. So they're all keeping that as far as focus goes. Ethan Winter now 2 seconds clear, and once more running roughshod here in the OSCA.
Yeah, seems like there's no catching Winter right now, but there may be some catching for Sam Chapman and Marcus Watson to do, because we saw Wayne Burke ridiculously high in turns 1 and 2 there. Out of 3 and 4, a little bit of oversteer is present for the number 89, and more oversteer for Zach Kerr. It looks like they're really struggling to get the power down now that they've put about 34, 35 laps on these tyres.
This is the moment where one spin spoils the pack racing that we've had and available. It's very, very tough at this stage of the race to realise, okay, I want to have tyre life, but I've got to baby them. And what everyone says is that a tread always remembers, Reese, and what you do to it in the first 10 laps, you'll remember 30 laps later and go, I haven't got any more on the bottom of your screen. Contact then running through the main section as Cale, Mead there with Boyd and Bowen. What are there trying to fight through? Shane Bowen back onto the leading lap now and has done well to fight himself to place.
Yeah, he was another one of the drivers who had to take a drive through at the start of the race, but much like the driver of Marcus Watson ahead, he's made a fantastic recovery and could stand a chance of gaining a few more positions here in the final 25 laps, but small taps to the wall. Meanwhile, really bad news for Lachlan Capel. He's just exceeded the incident limit in the server. Cale gets into the wall there. May have been a bit of contact there with Mead or a bit of oversteer. They keep it going and we stay green. But really bad news for the 818. He's going to have to tour through the pits and serve a drive-through.
Oh, this is going to be really awkward when he comes down into lane because he's got 4 laps to get in and serve it, and he's right in front of the group. And I reckon here, he just says left, I'm pitting in. So he just says, look, I'm going to have to cede it here to Lachlan Mead, and so they have to be careful. They've got 17 incident points to play with, and guess what this means here for Lachlan Capel with 25 to go. Another 8 from here, and he's disqualified.
Yeah, needs to stay out of trouble from here, but we'll see how long it takes him to tour through the pits. He is going to lose a lap for this one.
Sorry,
Zach
we didn't notice this, but Jacob O'Reilly has had a connection drop and he's out.
Oh, he has. Yeah, indeed. About 3 minutes ago, Jacob O'Reilly dropped out of the server. So that's really unfortunate for Jacob. It's just been, I think a lot of drivers in this field will be wanting a little bit better out of this. It has been you would argue, a better race for cautions and incidents than we've had previously, but more than a few drivers with connection issues tonight. I wonder if there's a pattern there.
Yeah, I wonder. Zach Kerr is looking really, really punchy now here as he gets to the inside of Tyson Broad. We need the cameras to go and follow that at the moment as we focus here on the number 19. But right now you get the sense here that Tyson Broad is now under that pressure here with 23 laps to go. And they are starting to go Noah's Ark 2 by 2 as they figure out where they want to go at Iowa. Across the corn they go once again, and this is where Burke, I think, is going to have to be clever, and I think the cleverest driver of all of them has been Marcus Watson. He has offered nothing to this group. He's been preserving, and I think he's ready to unload the pipe bomb that gets him up the order. Kerr goes down low.
And Broad puts the power down, doesn't quite gain as much on the way down the start-finish straight as he did previously. You see those minor wiggles there up the top. As you said before, so bumpy up the top there. It's really difficult to maintain some straight line momentum. But out onto the back stretch now. Broad will crucially clear curve only for a few seconds. Zach gets back up the inside and he's almost nose ahead between 3 and 4, even cutting a little bit below the white line of the apron. He's really pushing it hard.
Oh, you see Tyson Broad just try and pinch down there for a moment. Give everything he can. Watson, way too washed out up high. That line won't work for you, buddy. And then again, Zach Kerr working hard on the inside. He's at the grindstone, trying to just ground out an overtake that gets himself to second. This is going to be a case of running the bases rather than going for the home run hit. And that is lovely stuff there from Kerr. He's almost clear as he works his way back to one. Gets the pass done on Tyson Broad. Now it's Sam Chapman's turn to try and follow suit. And he's going to wash up a little.
Oh, transitions that into oversteer on the way out of turn 2. So now, single file again. He's going to try and keep that high line going to bring the tyre temps back under control. But Wayne Burke on the inside, as he's loved to be over the course of this whole race. There's the momentum. There's the move. Sam Chapman gets past Tyson Broad. I think Tyson is in a bit of trouble here. His tyres might have given up.
They might have done, and Tyson here going the wrong way at the critical phase of the race with 18 laps to go. He tries to send a message back saying, I've still got something to race with, but he's not going to get the drive off the exit. Now Wayne Burke's going to pick up a run here as they come to the corner. And once more here, lap 184, looking his way towards the inside, not going to get there. Kerr running high gives Chapman the chance, then down low, and put Wayne Burke up now into 4th place.
So Tyson Broad dropping down the order now. Then how far further will he drop is the question. We'll see if he can keep Marcus Watson and company behind him. Tyler Williams, meanwhile, catching up here with Bryce Harding. These guys are running about 0.2 of a second faster than the pack ahead and almost matching Ethan Winter's pace, but not quite. That lead is now out over 5 seconds as there's an oversteer moment for Sam Chapman. And here we go. Now we're into the meat of this one. 15 laps remain at Iowa Speedway. This is going to be a fantastic finish if the racing we've got so far is anything to go by.
Oh, no, it's not almost. Lachlan and Ryan Barber there. Lachlan Mead and Ryan Barber almost come together. Barber grazing up against the wall. And now there's going to be more contact. Mead's turn. Caution's out.
And Ethan Cale. Oh, no, that's Shane Bowen that got into him there. And they both got the incident limit black flag as a result of that. Lachlan Mead retiring from the race. Oh, that's got to be the worst commentator's curse I've committed in some time. My sincere apologies for that. We are going to pause this race once more here at Iowa. It's going to be a 10-lap dash to the finish, it looks like, and that's not even considering the potential for overtime. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone comes in for a new set of tyres from this.
So it starts here, working through off the exit, the contact off of 4, there's a little hook between them, a bit of contact, but nothing that is foul. But again, Barber, when he's been up on the top side, just has no control, in my opinion, Reese. He has no control when he's on the top side of slowing it down when a car merges into the lane of the way he wants to drive off the exit. He's got to work on that, otherwise he's going to get blamed for incident after incident after incident, and no one's going to want to race with him.
Yeah, I mean, the key point is when you're side by side with someone, you're on the high line, you got to be aware that they might just wash up into you because they're trying to hold.
Two-tyre call! Sam Chapman, two-tyre call!
That's big! Sam Chapman! Oh, that is a brave decision there, and it looks like Bryce Harding's done the same thing.
That's huge. It puts Ethan Winter on 4 tyres in 3rd. Zach Kerr, Burke, Broad, they're all there. I love this call. You've got to do something to get yourself up the order, and Chapman and Harding are rolling the dice, hoping for at least one quick caution so that they don't have to suffer as much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's a really sensible thing to try. You know, when we go green again, it's going to be around 10 laps to go or so. So it's not enough time for any real disadvantage to be had from only having 2 fresher tyres on the car. By the same token, though, Ethan Winter, he's not just proven that when he's out in front he can jet away, he's proven he can make those moves where it counts. Remember earlier on in the race, he was having some trouble with Tyson Broad. They were running side by side. Winter managed to get it done. So I would expect him to really give Sam Chapman and Bryce Harding a few more things to think about here.
I think so too. We were looking like it was going to be an Ethan Winter runaway. Now he's going to have to do a tiny bit of work here to get by Chapman and Harding. The 101 and the 79 have both got themselves with eyes to say, look, this is what we're going to be capable of doing here. But I think the key to this race now is patience, and patience is going to be the big key, because Chapman and Harding here, they're not going to have everything their own way. I think Bryce Harding can be dealt with off of the start here by Ethan Winter. That's what he's banking on. Harding, the Kiwi, not being quick off the start, and then he will have full license to go and attack Sam Chapman, where Zach Kerr on the outside maybe is going to have to do a lot more work to get around Bryce through 1 and 2.
So, lapped cars released there. That's Lachlan Capel, who's managed to get back out there after serving his drive-through and taking a 1 minute 51 second pit stop, I think, to just prepare then for the last stages of this race. He's still off the lead lap though, so I don't think we'll see Lachlan Capel challenging much there from the back. Crucially, he is still rolling and he will still get points at the end of the race. So, up the front of the field, lights are off on the pace car. This is going to be a massive restart here. Big challenge for Sam Chapman and Bryce Harding. Taking right side tyres only at that pit stop where everyone else took 4 tyres. Let's see how it works out for them as they enter the restart zone and lead us away. Once again, the inside line gets a massive advantage, and it looks like Bryce Harding is holding up everyone behind him. Big fan out there for Tyler Williams. He goes very high to try and get it done there, and they're almost 4 wide in the midfield there. But already, Ethan Winter and Wayne Burke pressuring Sam Chapman here. Winter goes up the inside where he's been strongest all day long. Washes up a little bit. Chapman squeezes him slightly coming out of 4. It's on now. Have a look at Marcus Watson. He's going for a podium spot on Wayne Burke.
Well, Marcus Watson here has been the revelation. Winter back down low. Chapman's really having to fight against the 8-ball. Traffic merging. Just in front is Ryan Barber back out there again. But Ethan Winter down on the bottom. It's 2 by 2 by 3 behind as they work forward for it. There's contact between Kerr and Greathead as they work through. But Ethan Winter fighting hard on the inside. Sam Chapman's giving everything.
Absolutely everything. And they got lap traffic to contend with as well in the form of Ryan Barber, who's just outside the frame here. There goes Burke up the inside of Chapman. It was a valley.
79.
Oh, Harding. Yep, that's where the 2-tyre strategy doesn't work out for you. Great head spins, and oh goodness, it nearly goes completely belly up for Lewis, but manages to hold on to it. Now Marcus Watson sees the chance for a podium spot. Can he find his way past Sam Chapman into turn 3? Managing to work it nicely on the way in is Marcus, but it's the exit where it really counts, and it seems like Marcus Watson's just flat out more comfortable down low there.
Oh, and he bumps into the side, trying to muscle Sam Chapman out the way, and he does so. Chapman comes back down to cover Zach Kerr off of the exit, and now you're in trouble. Broad grabbing a bit of wall there just behind as he looks to try and fend off Eli Donaldson. Kale there is fighting hard, and there goes Tyson Broad. He goes around. Caution comes out with 6 to go.
Oh, dearie me. Just making it 5 laps to go, Ethan Winter. And I think that's going to effectively bring us into a green-white checkered situation. We'll be going green with something like 2 laps to go. Ultimately, this is how the incident happened. Just a little bit too hot into the turn there was the 18 of Donaldson, and he gave Broad a second tap. Round he went.
First was a warning, second was right, round you go, you're being too slow. That he didn't touch you, he didn't wreck you, he bumped you, and you couldn't hold on to it there. Tyson Broad, there had to be a little bit more in his position, but Eli, I think, just pushing a little too hard late. And now this creates a really interesting scenario here. Ethan Winter, Wayne Burke, and Marcus Watson. And there is going to be next to no time on this restart to get it right. An instant straight away will immediately send us to overtime. There is not long left to go and make it happen. And Ethan Winter, the dominant force here in the OSCA, is going to be on track looking for yet another dub in the column.
Yes, indeed. Managed to take the win in stage 1 and 2 as well. He's only done that once before this season. Can't remember exactly what round it was, but Winter has managed to grab all stage wins on top of the overall race win as well before. So continuing to consolidate his championship lead, but he'll have a lot of pressure from behind. Wayne Burke will be on the front row with him for what we will presume to be the final restart. For now, Marcus Watson on the inside line though, and we've seen how much of an advantage the inside line has on those restarts. I think Watson is really going to challenge here.
Marcus Watson, I think, is going to get a better run here on the bottom than Wayne Burke is on the top, unless Wayne is really, really woken up to it. And if Marcus Watson can get a run, Ethan Winter, watch out, because imagine going from one lap down into position. That is going to be huge. And I'm looking around here at the moment at the pace car. The lights are still on here on lap 198, which means they'll form to 2 wide at lap 199, which means this could be a one-lap shootout.
Okie dokes. This will be attempt number 1 effectively at a green-white checkered. It was at Indianapolis that Ethan Winter managed to take the win in stage 1 and 2 and be in the lead at the end as well. He also won the checkered at Atlanta in round 2. It's been a varied series of winners that we've had thus far in the Oceanic Stock Car Association, but Winter being the most consistent, getting the points where he's needed to. Lights off on the pace car, making it home for green-white checkered attempt number 1 with potential to go into overtime. Oh, so pitters under that caution. Bryce Harding, Tyson Broad. No surprise to see Broad coming down into the pits after the damage he sustained. Logan Howard, Joshua Horton, and Daniel Boyd also came in. Lachlan Capel got the lucky dog. He got another lap back and decided to take another trip to the pits as a result of that. So keep an eye out for Harding and company. They'll be trying to work their way back into the top 10. They'll have slightly fresher tyres as well with another set to spare. Into turn 4 then. Who's going to get the best run here into this final 2 laps? Projected Ethan Winter entering the restart zone. And away we go. Green flag flies. It's not as much of a jump as he's gotten in the past. And Marcus Watson hasn't followed him. Zach Kerr's going to make it 3 wide for 3rd spot here with Sam Chapman stuck up top there. Watson in the middle and making some momentum on Wayne Burke. And the momentum will continue down this stretch here. Almost coming to 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air. We'll see if we can keep it going.
Well, that was big there, a mischief as he goes through. This one will go official, over the line, massive, massive loss out there. They're not going to throw a yellow for that. What a save by Sam Chapman. But Winter's got clearance now as he heads his way to 3, and he knows now Burke's going to find everything. There's trouble in the back, the 43 going around.
Joshua Horton around, but now the checkered flag is out and Burke just couldn't get the exit. Ethan Winter's going to come across the line to win at Iowa, and amazingly Marcus Watson gets on the podium. I think I saw Tyson Broad spitting in the background there. He just lost a couple more positions down to 15th at the line. Horton will be the final car to take the checkered. In fact, in pit lane, the number 43 coming into the pits on the run to the finish. Oh, well, that turned out to be quite the entertaining race. Ethan Winter, though, sheer dominance at Iowa. The lead that he had before that caution came out was approaching 6 seconds. That number 39 is absolutely done and dusted, I think, for cars that are the best here today. The Vortex crew putting a lot of work into their setups, and it's paying dividends for them.
Light up the Goodyear Eagles, because he has just buttered that corn on the cob today. He has looked absolutely all-conquering and dominant once more, and this is the issue that everyone is going to run into throughout this season. It doesn't matter if it's short track, if it's medium speed track, if it's high speed track. Ethan Winter is the threat, and he's the threat everywhere. And everyone's got to get up to his level, and that's the problem. Cody Deeth can get to his level, but he's so inconsistent and mired in penalty that he's never going to get there. And everyone else is just staring around going, well, are we going to just have to fight for second best every time? Ethan Winter is dominating, and for OSCA, he will be saying, well, this is another one in my books.
Fantastic stuff from Ethan Winter today. We'll go through our results before we bring the drivers in for interviews. Winter, in the end, a quarter of a second in front of Wayne Burke. Marcus Watson, though, I think, along with Ethan Winter, the big star of this race. He had a penalty to serve at the start of the race from last round, and he's managed to work his way back to a podium spot, just flat out outdrove everybody on his way to that third place ahead of Zach Kerr and Eli Donaldson. Scott Rankin recovering to finish P6 in the end. He flew under our radar in that final stage. Ethan Cale finishing in 7th as well. Remember, he was involved in one of the caution-causing incidents as well as Rankin. They both have a top 10 finish for their troubles. Lewis Greathead, Tyler Williams, and Nick Ryan rounding out the top 10. He spent so much of that race off the lead lap, but just quietly minding his beeswax, getting a top 10 for it. Well done.
Well, they don't ask you where you are, they ask you where you finish, and that's the key. Shane Bowen in 11th, also having to recover back. Ryan Barber there in 12th, having a big issue with 15 to go. Bryce Harding and Logan Howard 13th and 14th with Tyson Broad. That late spin dropping him back then to 15th position. Daniel Boyd, who was in the dash for cash, he's 16th ahead of Sam Chapman, who was the last finisher on the lead lap. Josh Horton down 2, Lockie Capel down 3, and the first of the retirees, Lockie Mead, down 16.
Joined by Josh Perwin and Jacob O'Reilly and Ben Faulkner, all of Vermilion, with Justin Clayton, the privateer, in 24th. Seth Brown also didn't see the finish, neither did Matt Bailey or Dave Douglas. Beaumont, in particular, getting involved in a caution-causing incident just after it happened. Blaine Densley, he had some great moves early on, but wasn't able to keep the run going. And Byron Phillips, neither will make it to the finish. Ashley Dodgson out early. Same for Cody Deeth, Clayton Davies, and last week's winner, Lachlan Frank, the first car out. What a shame to see. But what we're going to go through now is our winning interviews here, and Ethan Winter, the first to join us. Well, quarter of a second in the end after that late caution, Ethan, but you had the lead up to over 5 seconds at one point. That car just looked under control, and it seemed like it really loved working the low line and just riding the white.
Yeah, the car's been dialed all week. It's very important to activate the left front here on that little grip strip. Well, the paint, that is, down both ends. So you just want to rep that as best as you can, and at the same time, you don't want to give your right rear up, because once no one's to the outside of you, you're gonna have a hard time fighting back on the inside. So at times there, I was just running defensively to kind of entice people to use their tires up more than they like, and then when I didn't feel like anyone was close, I would drop back to the bottom.
Some good momentum for you here in the first 6 rounds of the season. This is the second time that you've managed to do the sweep of the stages after Indianapolis, but we're going to be going to a slightly different venue for round 7. Portland International Raceway, the only road course round of the season, is next week. You're obviously strong on the ovals. Do you think you're as strong on the road course?
I mean, you certainly guarantee I will not win next week, so just try to minimize the damage that'll be done to the points lead, knowing that a lot of these guys in here are great, and they're established in road racing. So definitely going to try to minimize mistakes next week and try to come out of it with ideally a top 10 at best.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes for you, Ethan. Anything can happen, as has been proved many times this season. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yep, thanks to Maddington and Canterville Toyota, Graham Electrical and Data, Ray White McLean and Yaber Vets, Slipstream Signs, Team Conti obviously for the set was dialed, as we saw. Vermilion Esports for the continued partnership, pace graphics for the cool liveries that Vortex has. Obviously, thanks to all the AOG admins, yourselves in the broadcast, Jay for doing everything that he does, and you guys for commentating. And yeah, we'll look forward to it next week.
As are we. Thanks very much for joining us, Ethan. We'll see what we can do to chat to you in 7 days' time.
Thank you.
Ethan Winter, winner from today. Jake Sperry has stood by with Wayne Burke, who finished second in the number 89.
Wayne, you started today in 7th position, and the key of that first stint for you was to gain up the places, and you were able to run that up inside the top 3 for the majority of today's running here at Iowa.
Yeah, the Fury Camaro was pretty hooked up today. I was surprised by qualifying because I'm not normally a very good qualifier, so I sort of surprised myself starting 7th, but makes it a lot easier with the clean air on the nose. So yeah, it was nice to run up front and pick a few off, which was good. Good to get that long run in stage 1 as well.
And how important was it to just keep your head on, because you had a lot of restarts there in the second half where it's you versus Tyson and you versus Tyson, and every time it looked like the run on the top just wasn't there on the restart, and you had to fight that too wide. But it looked like, at least from the early stages, bottom line wasn't quite what was needed. It looked like the middle line was slightly the quicker race line.
Yeah, the late race restarts are always interesting because people get a bit excited at the end, which is fair enough. It's hard, I think, on the outside of the front row to get the run. Just the advantage the pole sitter gets by being able to choose. But yeah, luckily, I think once you get going, the top side and the middle and the top is a bit better to pass on, which is a good saving grace. And you just, as long as you can sort of be on the outside of like third when they're restarting, you can sort of hold them off at the end, which is good.
And critically for you, it's a big result with this second, and you head to Portland, which will be a good territory for you in terms of what you do on the roadside. So are you taking a result like this today with a lot of confidence, knowing that you are finding that chance to go battle over in Portland?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like my end results haven't been that great this season. Like, I've had good stage points, but not quite the end result I've wanted. But yeah, going to Portland, not to just touching wood a little bit, but Portland should be a strong one for me with the road course stuff. So, but you can't count your chickens too early.
Absolutely not. Wayne Burke then second position there for Vermilion Esports, and will be incredibly pleased on that. And what a day at the office for this guy, from 32nd and a lap down all the way up to third. Reese, I believe you've just found Marcus Watson.
I have indeed. Congratulations, Marcus. You were looking mighty pacey today. Obviously, starting on the back foot, having to serve a drive-through at the very start of the race. But what was your attitude coming out of the pit lane and seeing all of that work to do ahead of you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, that was quite an eventful race, but drive through and going a lap down off the start, I didn't really know what to make of the race and was kind of just trying to feel my way out as I went on. It seemed quite hard to pass, and at the first part of the race there, not a lot of yellows, so I thought we were going to be in a bit of trouble. But thankfully for us, there were a few cars on the wall and gave us a few opportunities to make our way back forwards.
The late race pace was looking fantastic as well. You managed to get onto the podium positions after that final restart. Do you think there was anything else you could have done to maybe elevate your finishing position a little further, or was the track just not there for you?
It's hard to know. Hindsight's always a great thing. I do think out of all of my oval races I've done, this one was maybe the one where I had a bit more of a chance, but I was just trying to settle for a good result more than do something stupid and take a championship contender out. There's a lot of very fast guys racing up the front in this, so I just tried to find my spot and get a good result.
Well, floor is yours, Marcus. Big congratulations again. Anyone you want to thank from your team before we let you go celebrate?
Thank you. I'd just like to thank PCD Racing, all my friends and family for all their support, and yourselves for the great broadcast.
Congratulations again, Marcus. See you at Portland.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
What a drive it was from Marcus Watson as we bring things home to the road course Portland International Raceway playing host to the next round of the championship, Sperry. I love this place. We saw it play host to a round of the V8 Scops Championship earlier in the year, and if V8 supercars around this place work, NASCAR certainly does. NASCAR has raced here in real life on many an occasion. It's going to be a fun one.
Well, the reason why this circuit works is because it is tight, it bottles you up, and it really puts a premium on high speed and just correcting every little mistake that's out there. It's got great overtaking opportunities into that turn 1 chicane, and that run into the circus is an absolutely wonderful section of road to go and get. You can catch that with us, of course, in 7 days' time. And critically, Reese, as far as getting a result at Portland is concerned, it's going to be not about who is in form, but it's about the drivers who will be out of form because they're going to be put to the road, who are going to try and have to get BRA, best result available.
Yeah, for sure. There's quite a few drivers in this field, Wayne Burke especially, who we were talking to earlier, who we expect to be right on it here at Portland, because the drivers who specialize in the ovals, yes, they'll have the advantage over most of the season, but this is the one round where the road course ringers, you could say, will be able to fight back. So look for some really mixed up positions in the field when we go live again in 7 days' time here. Huge thanks to the crew at Aussie Online Gaming and the Oceanic Stock Car Association for putting this series on, and we hope that you enjoyed the show today, riding along with us here at Iowa for round 6 of the OSCA Championship Series. My name's Reese Gardner, Jake Sperry alongside me in the comms box, and Jay Kennedy producing behind the scenes here on SimSpeed TV. Catch you later.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green. He's got the run, but is it enough? It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from 3rd to 1st in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.